world is changing once again, Hanzo. And it's time to pick a side.
Hey guys, my name is Shurumi. I have a lot of different names and I just really like lore. Well, it's finally time we start yapping and talking about Season 3 of Overwatch. And by Season 3, of course, I mean the entire story of Tokyo. We just got the prelude to that with this new comic, The Fall of a Sparrow, going over Genji and him going back to Japan. So yeah, it's a pretty juicy one. Something I should say before we get into this though is this does take place after Chapter 18 of Overwatch Undivided. Overwatch Undivided is the ongoing webtoon comic that's kind of going on in the background. Now, they have paid chapters and they released 3 the other day, this being one of them. So it's not officially out yet. It'll release in a couple weeks for free, but until then, I'm not going to be talking about it. I think those kind of chapters that are locked away are best when everybody gets to experience them for free. So I'm not going to be talking about it aside from Genji having his little moment there, and now he's in Japan. So yeah, done with that. And of course, if you like this kind of stuff, don't forget to like and subscribe, but I'm getting a little ahead of myself. What are we actually going to be talking about here? Well, I'm going to be doing a little summary of things, and then I'm just going to be jumping straight into my thoughts on pretty much everything in this story because, oh man, there is a lot of lore references and Easter eggs. So with that in mind, we have a lot to talk about, so let's not waste any more time. Let's get straight into talking about everything going on with the Hashimoto and the Shimadas after so long, with a little recap of the story. The story begins picking up where Overwatch Undivided left off. After Genji told Sojourn he was leaving, he's made it to Japan. His home is extremely different from how he left it, and the Hashimoto are everywhere. Looking to find out if Talon is involved and the source of the Animatech weapons, Genji clashes with a small group of Hashimoto, debating on leaving one okay so they can send a message to their boss. Yet, before he can, a shock sends this last person flying. A Hashimoto lieutenant in a gold Oni mask appears, and Genji and the figure clash, before this person turns and starts to run away into the city. Genji chases after them, eventually figuring out that this person is leading him to an old arcade, one from Genji's youth, and Genji starts to remember his past. He remembers one day playing Fighters of the Storm here, his favorite arcade game, with Hanzo, who he had to coerce into playing with him, while a young Kiriko watched alongside them. That night, the 3 tried to sneak back into the base, but got caught by Kiriko's mother, Asha, the Swordmaster. The 2 brothers then had to confront their father, who was holding a meeting with the Shimada clan, expecting both of them to be there, but obviously Genji was not. Hanzo had gone to go get him, and neither had come back on time. So, their father was extremely angry. Their father being disappointed in Genji was pretty usual for him, and while he wasn't used to it, he did remember days back when his mother was around. His mother was kind of the temper that kind of held his father's more aggressiveness or disappointment back, and was the opposite of him. She was calm, beloved by the people, and just helped his father generally. But she left when they were very young. The next day, Genji got ready to sneak out for some time alone after yesterday's scolding, but he noticed his brother sparring away, and it made him wonder who his brother was mad at. His brother only got into this kind of anger when this kind of thing happened. As he continued to sneak out, he was caught by Kiriko, who, on the verge of tears, told him they were not allowed to go to Kanazaka. Before he could do much more, she asked him straight up, "What happened to your mom?" Genji was caught off guard and explained she left when he was very young, saying she felt like she had to. After this small conversation, a group of ninjas appeared, alongside Hanzo and his teacher. Genji realized this was a trap, and was forced to finally spar with them, something that he didn't really want to do and usually kind of shrugged off. Later, Genji came to Hanzo's room, apologizing for his actions the day prior, and his laid-back tone generally. Hanzo explained he didn't want to take the brunt of father's anger, but the thought of Genji being there instead hurt him. This does show that the 2 brothers and Kiriko, as well as Asha, and even their father, are a family, and even if he was gone, he would return to them one day, as he says many times in the story. Back to the present, Genji was surrounded by the Hashimoto and Talon. The gold Oni mask person reappeared, and soon Genji realized this was a trap. As Genji is slowly surrounded, arrows suddenly hit the attackers, and Hanzo Shimada appears, ready to save his brother. Surprised, Genji was really happy to see him, pulling his brother into a hug. Genji noticed his brother's face, and he looked at peace for the first time in a very long time. As Genji and Hanzo prepared to fight, Kiriko appeared as well. Seeing the young girl he once knew older now shocked him a little bit. The group prepared for battle, and the three were finally reunited after all this time. It was clear to Genji that there was just too many of the attackers. Genji decided to sacrifice himself. He gave Hanzo and Kiriko an Overwatch communication device, telling them to call Overwatch for backup and run. They didn't want to leave him behind, but Genji knew he would find his way back, and that they would save him. So, they took off. After they left, Genji was shocked and knocked unconscious. Days later, he was dragged deep in a Hashimoto base. Inside, the Hashimoto brought Genji to one of the elders, a figure with a deep robotic voice and some type of metal. They looked at Genji, hearing he was a Shimada, and that made them say they were intrigued. So, yeah. This one, obviously I didn't do the best time at editing and summarizing. I'm trying to get this out pretty quick, but I also wanted to talk about it a little bit. I highly recommend going and reading the original story, of course, before mine as well. This isn't going to be more of a dissection of the characters, but it's more of just lore callbacks and mentions. So, yeah. Now things are starting to make a little bit more sense. I made a video last week talking about Season 3 of Overwatch 2, and talking about who I thought was going to be here, and I did call Genji going here, but not for the reason I expected. So, in that video, I kind of thought that the new strike team that was revealed in the more recent chapters of Overwatch Undivided was all going to go to Japan on behalf of Overwatch. Now, we're not going to be talking about Undivided spoilers pretty much anymore here, but I did want to bring that up before going into the more dissection part of this. Genji is back in Japan. Some people might be confused a little bit on why exactly Kiriko and Hanzo are here, so I will bring that up real quick. Their story kind of continued in Hanzo's short story Where Honor Lives, and kind of explains that Hanzo went back to Japan, kind of feeling an urge or feeling his father's presence beckoning him back. When he came home to everything going on with Hanamura and Kanazaka and everything, he decided to stay and work alongside Kiriko to defeat Null Sector. Obviously, that's done now, but it seems like he's still sticking around to try to protect his home. He's probably met the rest of the yokai, or well, definitely has met the rest of the yokai, I should say. They've been together for a little while now, so yeah, I thought I'd bring that up just so people aren't confused. But yeah, that's kind of the major Hanzo thing here. The story's more focused on Genji, but we do get really cool moments with Hanzo, which I've seen a lot of people excited with everywhere, which is really cool. The Hashimoto are in charge of a lot of the things here, and Genji was right to assume that Talon was involved, because we know they are. The Anima tech seems to be in the hands of pretty much anyone who's a lieutenant or above in the Hashimoto now, which is kind of a big deal. They seem to be working Toshiro overtime, since Toshiro, aka Kiriko's father, is the only one we know who can make this Anima tech. But what is Anima tech for those who don't know? Anima tech is a pretty complex thing for us to understand, but in the Overwatch world and in the basic way, it's what Genji's dragon and Hanzo's dragon, but Kiriko's fox is also made out of. This kind of technology is something that only Toshiro, who was the bladesmith for the Shimada clan, could make, but after everything that happened in the fall of the Shimadas, he was taken hostage by the Hashimotos and forced to work away. Now, for the longest time, he said that he had lost his talent and they had just genuinely lost the skill, but it was revealed with Mizuki's lore last season that, of course, he was lying, and he gave Mizuki a new piece of Anima tech. So it does look like that the Hashimoto either found out about Mizuki's Anima tech, or they got him to start working again, and he's, well, working on more stuff. That's kind of a side tangent to the main story here. Everything with Genji I thought was a really great character moment for him. In fact, I'm really excited to see where they take Genji going forward. Currently, at the end of this, he is being held hostage by the Hashimoto, and we can assume Overwatch is going to come to the rescue, but I do wonder if Sojourn's going to send the rest of the strike team like I mentioned earlier. Or maybe Sojourn herself gets involved, and she sends the full brunt of Overwatch to save Genji. He's a really important character to Overwatch, obviously, and he's one of the core members, so I wouldn't be surprised if they go all out on rescuing him. But as well, this is going to give Hanzo and Kiriko the opportunity to meet Overwatch. This has been a pretty long requested thing for a lot of people, and maybe even if they meet Overwatch, they might even join. Now, I don't know if that's really the best or most important thing for either of their characters right now, but I do think we could see a Sierra situation where maybe they work alongside Overwatch for a little bit and form kind of a small alliance in a way. Sierra is with Overwatch now, but her situation is a little bit more complicated, and we know she's not fully with them, so maybe it's going to be like that for Hanzo and Kiri. And of course, how can I not mention everyone's favorite weird little guy, Mizuki. Mizuki was pretty oddly absent from this, and while this is more focusing on the Shimados and the Hashimotos, I'm really surprised. I thought he would at least be mentioned, but he wasn't even brought up. So he's probably going to be really important to the story next season instead. Wouldn't be surprised if he's kind of the secondary main character to the main villain who's going to be the new hero, which, don't worry, we're going to be talking all about her in a little bit. Another thing I brought up, or should bring up, is Genji brings up the Heroes of the Storm kind of reference game. That was his favorite game. I thought that was really fun. There's a couple little references to Heroes of the Storm in here with that, like their mains that they both main in the game, and I don't know, I just thought it was pretty neat and it's fun little world building, but also a fun nod to Blizzard. Now, some things I've seen going around. I saw some people kind of confused by how Kiriko reacted to Genji. She shouldn't really know how he looks, and if she does know how he looks, she was taking things pretty easily. Last time she saw him, he was a, well, normal man, essentially. So maybe she kind of has seen images of him, or Hanzo's explained things to her, but yeah, maybe they'll talk about that a little bit later, because that is something I'm interested in. Of course, I think we should talk about the kind of elephant in the room now, the main thing that everyone is discussing, the new hero. So if it wasn't obvious, yeah, I do think the new hero is in this story. They seem to be the Elder at the end, which all we know about this Elder from what is explained in the story is they have a deeper robotic voice, and there's some type of metal clanging in the distance. Obviously, you may look at this and immediately assume, oh, this character must be an Omnic, but I'm pretty sure this is a fake out. They've done this a lot with Omnic heroes, where they say this character is very robotic or very cybernetic, and we get them and they're not an Omnic at all. You can even see that with the silhouettes of some characters we've gotten in the past, so I am leaning towards this character being human. Now, who exactly could this character be? Well, there's one character that's pretty much brought up essentially in this story multiple times that has not really been brought up in many years, and of course, that is Hanzo and Genji's mother. So, we don't really know a lot about her aside that she left them when they were really young for some unknown reason. Now, it would make a lot of sense if we finally get to pick up on this, mainly because it's brought up so much in this story, but it's a long-running thing that people have wanted to see explored, everything going on with the Shimada family. But is this woman Hanzo and Genji's mother? Well, I don't think so. Or if she is, that's going to be a whole different thing. But I think there is a chance this could be the mom. If it's not her, then I do think it's probably going to be a character related to her. Maybe similar to how Mizuki has Toshiro, Kiriko's father, as a father figure to an extent. The two share a lot of time in the Hashimoto together, so I could see that kind of being the parallel they go with here, where this character has a mother figure in Genji and Hanzo's mother, or alternatively, this is their mother, and this character is an elder of the Hashimoto. I don't really know how that would work right now, because this story even describes their mother as very kind, gentle, caring, loving, and as a leader of the Hashimoto, aka an elder, I don't really think you're really any of those things. A lot of question marks do come up if that's the case, though. Why exactly did she leave everything with the Shimadas in the past? Did she play a part in their fall? All of that would be really cool to explore, and I am pretty confident we're going to be looking and focusing on that throughout this season. Something with Sierra this season is this idea of family, so maybe that's going to be a kind of core thing for Heroes this year as well. If this is Hanzo and Genji's mother, then it does make sense to kind of follow the family trope that we got with Sierra. But also, it is something people have just generally requested, which is another thing you need to look at when looking at Heroes. Every hero coming this year is a generally requested character, or at least an archetype, or representing some type of faction. So yeah, would not be surprised there. This also brings up the idea that this person is going to be a foil to Genji. So this person, if they're not an Omnic, is extremely cybernetic, and if they're not Hanzo and Genji's mother, they just seem like a cybernetic human being. Now, maybe they could go the route where they kind of focus on the cybernetic aspect of her, where Genji didn't want his cyborg parts, this character did, and she's gone full-on cyberpunk in a way. Kind of like Hazard, but not to that extent, obviously. That could be a really cool element to play with here, and it's something I did want to bring up as an interesting idea to explore down the road. But yeah, it does seem like this person is an elder of the Hashimoto. They do seem like they have some kind of beef with the Shimada specifically. We know the Hashimoto do in general, but you know what I mean. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is the mother of Hanzo and Genji, or if this is a character related to her, and maybe we see her next year. Kendra Woods, which is Sierra's mom, was also a mother figure that was set up last season in the lore, or well, this season now. So yeah, following those family dynamics, it could be a cool pattern that we see starting to emerge. As well, it is about time we get a little bit of an older character. If this is Hanzo and Genji's mom, they would make her a little bit older than the usual heroes, and that's something people have wanted as well, especially an older character like this. But yeah, what did you guys think of this story in general? Sorry this one isn't too long, I mainly wanted to yap a little bit about the kind of lore things I noticed. This is a really good character study and character moment for Genji, but it's not really this video to talk about that. I'll probably talk about that when we get closer to Season 3 and my wrap-up of Season 2. I will be making a video talking about Season 2 and pretty much everything I enjoyed in it, so keep an eye out for that. Anyways, that's pretty much all from me. What did you guys think of this one? Do you guys want to see more of this storyline? Are you excited for Hashimoto lore, and are you excited for maybe Hanzo and Genji's mom to finally be a character again? Let me know down below. Anyways, that's all from me, and I'll see you guys probably when we get the hero reveal. So, see you soon.